Karen Holton TV presents the Aliens and Angels podcast. Meet experiencers, contactees, abductees, ET human hybrids, and more weird paranormal states of reality. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Aliens and Angels podcast. Hopefully, my equipment is working better today than it was on Wednesday, and y'all can hear me. And for those of you who are here for the live show, welcome. So lovely to have you here with me today. So in this episode, I'd like to present some information about the Intergalactic Resettlement program as taken from my book called Transdimensional, Meet the New Neighbours. So I was recently guest on Tommy Callum's Let's Get Freaky podcast, and we did a deep dive into the resettlement program. So if you haven't seen it, you might want to go over and check out Tommy Callum's Let's Get Freaky, and you'll probably learn some things that I probably won't even think to mention today. So I guess, have you ever wondered if intergalactic resettlement is possible? And are there worlds on which we could thrive? How can we prepare for this possible, awesome adventure? Are all of the resettlement processes by many races of ETs do they all work the same? For more information on the subject, pick up your book from Amazon today, Transdimensional, Meet the New Neighbours. All of the links are featured below in the description. Please join me in the live chat to share your questions and comments. And I want to thank you in advance for liking, commenting, subscribing, and please do share my content with your friends. I'm trying to grow my channel, and one way that you can help me out is by taking out a channel membership, which are now available. So it's a great way to receive my perks, but also to help to support my channel. And with that, I will just pop into, you'll notice I have a poll up. And my poll basically says, would you like some episodes, maybe once or twice a month, be of me reading excerpts from my book and us discussing it? Or do you prefer it when I just interview guests? So I thought I would ask those of you who are popping in today, and I'm not sure if the poll also works for the replay, but I guess we'll find out. And that would be really great. So we're just going to go into the live chat. I'm going to say hello to everybody. I want to say hello to Denise. Denise is my amazing moderator. She's put a link in the live chat for those of you who would like to make a donation via the buymeacoffee.com option. And so also we have Phoenix in the house, and she says she'll be back once it's about to start. And happy Sunday, everybody. And she reminds everyone, please don't forget to hit that like button. So as I mentioned, I am trying to grow my channel, and you can help by liking, subscribing, sharing, all of those things, put it out into the algorithm and help more people to become aware of my channel and my podcasts. So Phoenix says, is the poll in the corner somewhere for us to contribute to the poll? And the answer is yes, absolutely. But this is my first time using this feature, and I'm not really sure how you access it during the live. So it might show up in the comment section below. I'm not sure. Please feel free to experiment and let me know how it's working. It's not in the chat. So how do we contribute? Again, I don't know. I'm assuming it might be in the comments. Denise said, I'd love for you to read some of your books. Thank you. Thank you, Denise. That's awesome. If and when the poll shows up somewhere where you folks can contribute to it, please also put your answers in there. And I apologize, I'm not a technical person, and I'm all on my own, so I don't have anybody to ask or know what to do. I suppose I could have Googled it, but I didn't realize that it wouldn't show up until I already started the show. So this just seems to be how it goes. Phoenix says that she also would like it if I spent some of my episodes, reading from my book and some interviewing people. And I think that's what I'll do, unless I get overwhelming response in the poll otherwise. So Phoenix also says it usually shows up in the chat. So I'm not sure if it shows up in the live chat or does it show up in the, well, I'm not sure how it works. So if you guys figure it out, let me know. And please, I appreciate your patience so much. It's such a great live chat group. Thank you for not expecting me to be perfect, because trust me, that's never going to happen. So I'm going to read a little bit, and then I'm going to turn it over to questions from the audience. Or if you folks have something you want to add to it. Let's see. Oh, okay. So Phoenix has offered actually to do an audio recording of my book, but she actually doesn't know how to do that. So she's still figuring that out. That's okay, Phoenix. I appreciate you and your effort. That's awesome. Okay, let's see. So I want to talk about the Intergalactic Resettlement Program. And in the beginning here, we'll just basically clarify a few things. So I want to begin by telling you, this is on page 47. If you have your book and you want to follow along, please feel free to. Let me begin by telling you how the Intergalactic Resettlement Program began. So the ancestors of my ET friends started out as a rogue breakaway group who knew that negotiating with world leaders of dystopian societies on planets like Earth rarely benefit the private citizens. So they developed an energy-based transdimensional system which facilitates spiritual contact with individuals. Ultimately, from our perspective, this is an ongoing human-initiated program because as we progress and grow, we're able to interpret and respond to the incoming paranormal invitations. So a lot of people are doing CE5 and they may think that that's human initiated contact, and sometimes it is. But probably what's happening is as folks start to have their awakening or start their ascension process where they're leveling up as human beings, where they're raising their frequency, then what happens is they're able to perceive, maybe not on a conscious level, but they're able to perceive that there is an invitation. And that invitation's raining down on all of us. It doesn't pick favorites. And those that are able to raise their frequency, they're picking up on it. And the natural conclusion to that is to want to reach out for more ET contact. And so even though it appears to us that it's human initiated, it's actually ET initiated in many, many ways. In addition, the beings on the big ship who host the Intergalactic Resettlement Program are not part of the secret space program, and this is only one of many possible relocation initiatives that are facilitated by various ET groups. Space, as we understand it, is a busy place. So what I'm getting across here is, although I'm speaking to to the subject of an intergalactic resettlement program as I understand it from my ET friends, that doesn't mean it's the only game in town. There are so many different kinds of ETs. Many of them, most of them are benevolent and do care about us and offer invitations. So I guess it depends on how developed our spidey senses are, whether we dream dreams, have lucid dreaming, out of body experiences, whatever. We might actually tap into more than one group or groups that are not groups that I'm talking about here today. So this group of ET beings are unnamed in human terms, and they don't speak English or any other Earth language. There are many different ET groups out there, and as far as I know, my group is not affiliated with any other group. So you might hear about, Starfleet Command or Ashtar Command or Bashir or whoever. Well, my group's not affiliated with any of those, but that doesn't discredit that there are other groups doing good work in what I will call our realm here on planet Earth. Ship politics are anarchistic and autonomous or sovereign in nature. That does not mean that they're chaotic. What it means is that each mothership or big ship or group of ETs has their own politic, has their own way of doing things. One is not better than another. It's just different ways of handling situations. And I think the really amazing thing about that is it shows us that there are so many different ways. I was going to say there's more than one way to skin a cat, but I love my cat, so I kind of taken that back. But do you know my point? My point is there's so many ways that we can solve our issues here on Earth. It's not even funny. So don't get boxed into thinking that it's all about what Karen says in her book or what the Ashtar Command is saying or what one of the other groups is saying, because each of us is offering options and perhaps pieces to the puzzle. Further, intergalactic resettlement has been around for hundreds of thousands of our years, assisting many evolved beings who face extinction level events. So this program is not specific to Earth. What that means is there are all kinds of societies out there who perhaps need resettlement for various reasons I'll get into a little bit more. So this is not the only party in town. I'm just going to go back up into the live chat and say hi to everybody. Rodney. Hi, Rodney. Nice to see you. So glad that you're here today. We got Hillbilly Herb is in the house. Good day at Karen Holton TV. Good day, Hillbilly Herb. Nice to see you. And let's see. Okay, I think I got everybody for now. People are still arriving. So I'll just continue with what I'm reading here. These beings also offer those of us who are ready a training program involving scientific expeditions to planets that may eventually be resettled. These planets that we visit have everything established in perfect balance, except no humanoids. More about this further along. Let me be clear, ET is not here to rescue us or solve our problems. They're waiting for us to solve our own problems, come into power personally and collectively, and begin a new way to manage things here on Earth. We will eventually stand up for our personal and collective sovereignty and reject 3D social, political, economic constructs. And evolving Earth people are welcome to make contact with ET whenever they are ready. So I've mentioned this many times on my shows. Reach out. Whether, you might want to start with the angelic realms. It feels a little safer, your guardian angel, your higher self. And then you might eventually feel brave enough to reach out to ET, and you might be quite surprised what you find. I have found ET contact much friendlier than I ever expected before I had it. So motivated by love and compassion, these beings sometimes make themselves available for near extinction or extinction level events to provide extraction and resettlement. Planets are not the safest places to live. Natural extinction cycles are common. And in our case, this is the fifth reseeding of Earth, which means that Earth was repopulated with humanoids at least 5 times, according to the intel that I have. Now, a lot of people look at these amazing megalithic structures all around the world, the pyramids and the amazing megalithic structures in South America and the mounds in America and Canada and all around the world. There are these megalithic stone structures, and the Aboriginal people are saying, no, we didn't build them. They were here when we got here. And these are examples of some of these highly evolved humanoid resettlement programs that have happened throughout time and history. And, all kinds of things could happen. Maybe they had to leave because of inhospitable situations like solar flares or earthquakes or whatever. But quite often what happens is beings resettle here, populate worlds, evolve, continue to evolve, and sometimes they just want to go someplace else. They want to try something different. So if we are faced with an extinction level event, some of us may be taken, and if so, we may be able to take our loved ones with us, if they wish to come along and accept evolutionary ways of thinking and being. So what that means is, say you have a family and one person clearly qualifies for extraction. What I mean by qualifies is they're not perfect people, but they've learned enough and they've worked on themselves enough to get to the point where they would be valuable for resettlement and not throw a monkey wrench into something that's beautiful and works so well by bringing, human dysfunction along with them. So say you have a family and one person qualifies, if it would break their heart to leave behind their pet or their brother or sister, cousin, friend, partner, ET will allow them to bring that person or little furry person with you out of kindness and compassion and mercy. But then it will be up to the humanoids that come along with us to prove they're serious about resettlement and that they don't want to bring all the toxic environment that we experience here on Earth up to the motherships or the other worlds where they would eventually end up. Further, some of us can personally participate in resettlement should we as a collective not come into our power and make the changes necessary to create balance and harmony here on Earth. See, that's the deal. We're supposed to create harmony and balance here on Earth first, but sometimes that just doesn't happen. You look out into the world, what's happening today, and it's like, eek! What a nightmare. What a clown show. We're not doing very good at evolving ourselves to a higher level of love and trust and peace and well-being. So, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how much time we have. Honestly, I have more questions than I do answers. But those who take responsibility for their personal development and sovereignty may be offered a chance to relocate to a new world because they have skills and ways of being that do not cause harm and will have value to the resettlement process. There are many things we can do. We can develop our own psychic skills and call in our guides, angels, and other spiritual truth providers for assistance. And eventually, we must learn to do this. We can make contact and connect once we're able to generate and embody sufficient levels of energy, we can make contact and connect once we are able to generate and embody sufficient levels of energetic interdimensional frequency. This process is often called leveling up, ascension, and evolutionary development, but these terms all basically mean the same thing. At this point, I would like to mention that my contact experience is not unique. There are millions of us However, most people who have encountered similar to mine do not remember these events, but we're remembering more often now. The call has been put out there, and many are recovering memory of their experiences in order to encourage and educate the people of Earth during these critical times. All is designed with a purpose. So before I get into the purpose and features of the pre-settlement program, just going to have a quick look at the live chat, see if we have any relevant comments, questions, things like that. Let's see. Here we go. So some people in the live chat are saying they try to explain this stuff to other people, but everybody just kind of thinks they're crazy or dismisses what they're saying. Well, that is how it is. I mean, remember in the Bible, the days of Noah, and he went around and told everyone, there's going to be a big flood. I'm going to build a big boat. Y'all welcome. And they all laughed at him and made fun of him. And some probably wanted to kill him, but the rain did indeed come. Hillbilly Herb says, I also believe this is the 5th time around, or maybe even the 7th, depending on which tradition that you follow. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, Rodney, bless your heart. He says, I can't wait. Denise says, no one in my family believes, so I guess I'd ask for you guys to come with me. Oh my God, that's so sweet, Denise. Absolutely, Denise. Definitely want to see you aboard the big ship. Absolutely. You're going to be part of my family of choice, as are many people in the live chat. Okay. Rodney says, I'll pack when I'm ready. Yeah. Well, the best way to pack is to prepare inside yourself. So getting back to the book, the purpose and the features of the pre-settlement program. Aboard the big ship, they offer a pre-settlement program, a resettlement program, and immigration to interdimensional space life aboard city ships. So you can be part of the pre-settlement program, the resettlement program, or you can immigrate to one of these amazing city ships. So you have lots of options. You're never forced into doing things a specific way. There's also exopolitical ambassador positions, which may include the downloading of our earthly experiences into their data bank memory system. As an exopolitical ambassador, I frequently give reports and input from my personal human perspective because they value my point of view, and indeed, all frames of reference from humans. This is why there's so many of us who experience this kind of transdimensional contact. So you might experience this as dreams, out-of-body experiences, lucid dreaming, astral projection, or you might not remember at all. But some of you will resonate and go, I'm pretty sure I'm involved. And I'm pretty sure you're involved as well. I mean, just because I was able to sort of process my experience and put it into a book doesn't mean I'm the only one. So many of you, you don't realize it. You go to bed at night and you are joining other beings, generally in an etheric form. The reason I know that is because I've been in the middle of meetings and all of a sudden I have to go to the bathroom. I wake up. So when I'm dreaming or aboard the big ship at, doing the exopolitical ambassador work, I'm there. I'm not here. My body's here, but I'm not here, right? Then I have to go pee. Oh my God, what am I going to do? I wake up suddenly because I have to go to the bathroom. And at first I would be really embarrassed. But then I realized when I'm not there, I'm here. When I'm not here, I'm there. So it's not like they would be watching me go to the bathroom or anything like that. And they just know this is how it works. And nobody bats an eye at it. And eventually I got used to that. And I wasn't so embarrassed. but we gather all the time with interdimensional and transdimensional beings, but not all of us remember. So if you feel that it's happening for you, it's probably happening for you because it's happening to millions of us. And I'm really, really happy I'm not the only one. So, as previously mentioned, these programs have been going on for hundreds of thousands of years, and the resettlement program was originally set up in response to the fact that planets go through geological and political cycles, and sometimes they're not safe places for us to live, thrive, and evolve. Examples of humanoid influenced ET initiated and natural disasters that destroy intelligent bipedal populations can include diseases, planetary changes and growth, culling by some domestic or ET races, the re-terraforming of the planet, as well as other various nefarious agendas. My ET friends are not involved in any of these intrusive processes. So, like we're well aware there could be some kind of a horrible disease that wipes out humanity. Some of those diseases could even be manufactured by humans. And I'm not going to say more because I want my show to be left up on YouTube here, but y'all get what I'm saying and where I'm going with this, right? It's not just ETs that are nefarious. So I think that's really important. Okay, I'll just pause for a sec because Kathleen just got here. Hi, Kathleen. Nice to see you. I am reading some excerpts from my book called Transdimensional, Meet the New Neighbors. And we're talking about the Intergalactic Resettlement Program as I learned about it from my ET contacts. So I hope that's something that you want to hear more about. Okay. Further, when a planet has been naturally terraformed or is re-terraformed, it has everything we would expect to see on a healthy world, including the animals, insects, birds, fish, plants, oceans, forests, etc., in perfect balance. But there are no established humanoid populations. Everything is there for optimal success: food, plant medicines, and natural opportunities for education. In the past, Earth was seeded with uncolonized humans several times by intergalactic resettlement programs, and off-world initiated relocation results are very different than human expatriation endeavors as historically seen here on Earth. Okay, so we've seen in history, thank you, Denise, for putting the link in there. It's also in the description below. So, when humanoids, or I should say humans here on Earth, have colonized other areas of the world, they tend to decimate the indigenous populations. They usually rape the land for the resources, all that kind of stuff. Well, ET resettlement is completely different, as you will learn as I go along here. And completely, you can't even classify them as the same thing. Kathleen says, my daughter and I talk with our mothership all the time. They call Hannah outside to take pictures of the ship. This is real. You know what? I don't doubt you. Guys, I'm really sorry about that. This is a problem I'm having with StreamYard. All I'm doing is using the sidebar to scroll through the questions and the comments, and then StreamYard kicks me right off and I have to come back in. So if I disappear, please forgive me and be patient. I'll be right back. I will be right back. Denise says, Kathleen, wow, maybe you should be a guest on Karen's show. I'd love to hear more. Absolutely. Absolutely. So what I was going to say, Kathleen, before I got kicked out of the studio was that everybody's experience and opinion is accepted here. You do not have to believe what I believe. You don't have to believe what other people in the chat believe. You can come and share in safe space, talk about your experiences, your feelings, make comments, and you will find this is a safe environment. And if for some reason somebody comes on, they're not spreading the love vibe, then my moderators, either Denise or Phoenix, would remove that person's comment or remove that person depending on what's appropriate. But that's only in fairly extreme cases. Pretty much everybody is free to express themselves. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I'm going to scroll through here and hope I don't get kicked out. Let's see. Rudy's here. Hi, Rudy. Nice to see you again. And Rodney says F5 refresh works for me. Oh, interesting. And Kathleen, Kathleen says, I have pictures. That's awesome. But Kathleen, we're going to get more into the book right now, but I would love to hear more. You might want to drop me an email giving me some more information, and we could tee up a chance for you to come on the show it's kind of booked up for about a month, but I could fit you in. Hillbilly Herb says, shield love. Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay. Let's see. Where did I leave off? Further, when a planet has been naturally re-terraformed or is re-terraformed, it has everything we would expect. Yes, I already read that. Everything is here for optimal success, food, plant medicines, natural opportunities for education, but no humanoids. So there are billions of worlds that do not have humanoids. Humanoids are created, and humanoids are very carefully introduced to new biospheres, new worlds. This is not something that is left to chance. It's too important, and I'll explain a bit more as I read along. Humanoids are created beings and are sometimes placed on worlds as benevolent, intergalactic, interdimensional genetic experiments, but more often, and as my experience shows, beings start over and resettle because they want to. Sometimes their planets become inhospitable, or a social experiment needs a place to unfold, or something where the humanoids are already highly evolved and choose to be relocated. Therefore, I'm sorry. I can't read my own writing. That's hilarious. Let me see how much time we have. We have a half an hour. And I'm going to skip over some because we don't have time for the whole thing. And please do feel free. You can buy my book on Amazon, and I think you'd find it very, very interesting. So before a planet is populated by humanoids, scientific expeditions to them are carefully planned and managed. In my experience, temporary settlements were set up for diagnostic and training purposes, requiring a hands-on physical experience. Before we would arrive, a quarantine area was set up around the camp location and training area to protect the ecosystems and maintain the balance and integrity of the biosphere. We would scout out this area and collect data, but I did not personally interact with any of the wild animal species while participating in this work. And then I go on and talk more about the pre-settlement program. So if we are evacuated before we could settle onto a new world, first of all, we'd have to go to a healing planet, which I will talk a bit more about today, so that we can recondition ourselves before we make our choices, whether we want to live aboard these big giant city ships or whether we want to relocate to another planet, what level of technology we prefer, what our purpose might be. Whole bunch of stuff has to take place. But basically, our mission focused on finding the very best way to resettle without disrupting the harmony of the biosphere. Very, very, very important. Now, think about it, guys. Is there any point in just lifting off the dysfunction and the toxicity and the problems that we're facing here on Earth and putting it into a nice, beautiful, pristine world? No. Greed and all kinds of problems and dysfunction would ruin everything. And so that's not going to happen. I'm just going to tell you point blank, that ain't going to happen. So if you want to read more about the pre-settlement program, again, please feel free to pick up my book. And now I'm going to talk a little bit about permanent resettlement. Just going to quickly check the chat, see if there's anything I should add. Let's see. Oh, thank you, Phoenix. She says you guys always have my back. Absolutely, which I appreciate so very, very much. Let's see. Denise says, Karen, maybe when you go live, put me in the background and I hopefully, LOL, can pin the comment for you. Just a suggestion. You know, Denise, I was going to do that. And then you had some medical issues and I didn't want to add, to your situation and, give you work to do for my channel when you were in recovery. So I want to give you a little bit of time, to recover. And I didn't want to put any stress on you, my dear friend. But actually, I think from now on, when I'm going to do a solo, I should definitely bring you on stage, put you in the background and let you handle the chat. The only problem we had last time we tried it was when you comment from being in the studio, it comes across as me. But you could always say, this is Denise, and then have your comment. You could add that. You could add that too, if you wanted to. So I think I'm going to make you my producer and bring you on board. And that would really, really help a lot. And thank you. Denise says, I love to help you. No worries. Oh, yeah, she can use her iPad for commenting. And yes, awesome. Awesome, guys. Let's do it. Because I do want to improve my show and get my channel out there more. And I think that would help a lot. So thank you, everybody, for your amazing suggestions. So we're quickly going through the time here. So there is some more stuff I want to cover that's kind of juicy. But again, for all the parts I missed, you can pick up the book and catch up, I guess. So permanent resettlement. When humans resettle permanently, they do so in small groups, which include 6 to 12 heterosexual couples of childbearing ages and at least 2 elders, one of which is a biological female and the other is a biological male. Now, a lot of people are going to go, oh, I'm being anti-gay. No, I'm not. But can you imagine if you want to resettle a planet and you put down 6 to 12 gay couples, you're not going to get any children. I mean, this is just really practical stuff. And the reason they bring the elders with them is because the elders have advanced telepathic and psychic gifts. So they can help to stay in contact without technology with their place of origin, the big ship. There are all kinds of systems to keep track of everybody and what's going on and how the progress is going. Sometimes the elders are life partners and other times they bring their partners with them, but many are single. And as you will learn in later pages, the humanoids that I met live much longer than humans here on Earth. Reproduction generally occurs during the first 100 years, but they live for at least 500 years or even longer. Once past their reproductive age, they have a shift in consciousness and they become learned scholars, teachers, and mentors. Most older beings evolve past the need for sexual contact and transmute this energy into spiritual paranormal gifts. So that's why these small settlements in the beginning would definitely want to bring their elders with them. The elders are also here to keep a detailed historical record of everything as it occurs. This telepathic record is used for teaching and as a foundation for the further intellectual and spiritual growth and development of the community. Records are also sent telepathically back to the big ship to be added to the database memory system. Depending on the size of the planet, a few or many such groups will resettle, but all groups are small in the beginning with lots of room to grow. Each group brings with them a healing pod, and you will learn more about these later in the book. Basically, humanoid beings cannot just resettle to a different planetary environment without a way to recondition themselves. Life on each planet and even life aboard the big ship requires adaptation to the subtle and not so subtle variations in atmosphere, gravity, nutrition, seasonal cycles, and frequencies, etc. The healing pods allow for healing and adaptation. Generally, once resettled on a planet, the second or third generational offspring are born with the adaptations necessary for health and survival and will only use the healing pods for recovery from accidents since illness is very, very rare. If members of the same family wish to settle on one specific planet, they are assigned to different groups to protect the genetic health of their core community, which obviously prevents inbreeding. As these populations grow, they will eventually spread out and form indigenous groups, clans, and tribes. And due to the wisdom of the elders, there will be no such thing as tribalism, violence, war, or colonialism. Remember, these beings are at our next level of development and have long since put destructive tendencies behind them. Further, when humanoids resettle, they choose the level of technology they will bring with them. But each group who resettles on a specific planet will all share the same level of technology or lack thereof. Some choose to bring no technology with them except for their spiritual gifts. They desire a clean start with everything they need and use coming from the planet itself. And this challenge is what they desire. They do, however, bring one healing pod per group, as I mentioned above, but in this case, these are no longer used once the entire population is fully adapted to their new home. Those who choose little to no technology and resettlement are placed onto worlds that have milder, more stable climates. Food and natural supplies are plentiful, and there are fewer risks to life or limb. We on the big ship assist with resettlement for as long as needed until the groups are confident of their independent success. And since everyone is aware of the transdimensional nature of reality, what we might consider to be long-range communication is facilitated by the advanced telepathic abilities of the elders, and any requested assistance is always accommodated. So in other words, nobody's ever just dumped off and the ship takes off without them. Constant communication is always happening, especially until these groups are basically ensured full success. There's no one correct way to resettle, and most choose a level of technology that falls somewhere in the middle. Some technology to make things easier and for more comfortable living. Some request a clean break from their source civilization, while others like to stay in touch. There's a lot of free will and free choice amongst those who wish to relocate. Before permanent resettlement can occur, these beings spend much time learning about and participating in the pre-settlement expeditions to learn everything they will need to know beforehand to ensure their success. They are never just dropped off to fend for themselves. As I mentioned before, we on the big ship assist with resettlement for as long as needed until the groups are confident of their independent success. Now, next in the book, I talk about a low-tech community experience I had. So I was given the great privilege of being able to visit at least 2 worlds that had been fairly recently resettled so that I could get an idea of what that might look like and report about it in my book. But I'm not going to read that today because we don't have time, but also encourage you to pick up my book and read all the details yourself. So one of my experiences was with a low-tech society, and I loved it. Absolutely loved it. The children were totally fascinated by me. I had long white hair, blue eyes, pale skin, and a few freckles. They'd never seen anybody like me before. They had very dark skin, very dark, kinky hair, large eyes, larger than ours, that were dark, almost black looking, and they were beautiful and healthy and quite lovely. My other adventure was to a high-tech settlement, and I hated it. It was on a water world. It did not go well for me. And again, like I said, you can read about it in the book. Um, um, let's see. Let's just go back a little bit and answer a few questions. And thank you, Phoenix, for also offering to help out. Yeah, it's true, Phoenix. You're not going to get you're not going to grow a race or several races on a planet unless they can reproduce. Just going to say it. So that is why it's heterosexual couples, healthy heterosexual couples, and it's got nothing to do with being against gay people or anything like that. Um, Denise, this is very interesting. Denise, she says, I wonder if you stay on the big ship, I can become younger. Well, actually, you can, Denise. What happened for me was I tried various ways of being on the big ship to have physicality, and eventually I got my own clone. And the difference between my clone and I is my clone was in perfect health. It had none of the imperfections that I have. I didn't have arthritic toes. I didn't have a crooked nose. Everything was perfect. My teeth were perfect. Everything was perfect. And it's not hard or difficult to transfer our consciousness from the old body to the new one. And actually, I'm hoping that when I pass away, I am going to pass directly back to the big ship, which I think would be awesome. And like I mentioned before, would be lovely to see you in Phoenix and the rest of my friends here aboard the big ship. I would love it. I would even love it if we met there, etherically. That would be awesome too. So let's see. Let's see. I just Phoenix says so evolutionary adaptation happens relatively quickly. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, within a couple generations for sure. So, a lot of people talk about how they've been to these different planets. They've been to Mars, they've been to Venus, they've been all over, and they go on spaceships and stuff. I've never had that kind of experience. I had to be reconditioned, whether I was aboard the big ship initially during my orientation, whether I traveled to other realities, I always needed to be reconditioned because my body is built for being here on Earth. And even though it's a consciousness swap, we take our concept of who we are with us. And it's very important, to be healthy and to recondition ourselves. So, especially if we're going to take on physicality, which I wanted to because I'm not dead yet. Maybe when I'm dead, might be different. Um, Phoenix says, I was going to say, was the kids that were cheering and surrounding you and happy and cheerful, like as though a festival took place? Well, it was definitely interesting, and it was definitely different. Like I said, they had never, ever, ever seen anybody like me before, but we hit it off. That's all I got to say. Phoenix also says water world, but don't you fear drowning? No, because you see, the water world was a high tech reality where we had technology, and actually the housing, the domiciles would be at surface level. At least they were when I arrived, and when the weather was nice, they could go up to the surface, but they also were able to plunge deep below the ocean when the weather was really bad, or they were doing the kind of well, basically, the reason they were there is they were scientists. And there was a lot of beings that live in this water world that are similar to what we would consider whales or dolphins, cetaceans. But except these are even more intelligent and highly telepathic. And so these beings were there to study and to establish a relationship with these water dwellers. And so they had all kinds of technology, which you can also read about in my book. So yeah, so we're running out of time, so I'm going to quickly go into resettlement to avoid extinction. I don't have time to read the whole thing, but I'll just read what I have underlined here. Some humanoid populations, humans as an example, will be so toxic from generations of poisons from the polluted air, food, water, and medical procedures that this has become part of our physiology. These pollutants must be gradually removed, and then our bodies will be transmuted into healthy tissues and components. Also, our genetically coded DNA needs to be decontaminated as well. Not only do we need physical healing, but we have also been intergenerationally poisoned on a spiritual, emotional, and intellectual level. So we must go through a sometimes lengthy system of deprogramming and re-education. I know re-education is a bit of a dirty word here on Earth, but trust me, it's for the best, and it's a very painless and important part of the process. Just to finish off, overcoming intergenerational trauma and learning to communicate telepathically are skills required before permanent resettlement is possible. Telepathy is the universal, interplanetary, and interdimensional method of communication. We all have this capability, but it is shut down in dystopian societies to ensure mass conformity. Controlling our words also controls the way we think and perceive, and is fraught with errors, which help to form and maintain social constructs. Intuition and telepathy are honest forms of communication. Once evacuees are restored to health on all levels, they can start the process of immigration to their future home worlds. They are given much free choice as to the kind of environment they will enjoy the most, and not everyone will go to the same destinations. Many will join other races of beings on large city ships like the Big Ship, and, as my experience shows, will assist others in the pre-settlement and resettlement programs. Some will choose to stay on the planet where they were restored to health in order to help other evacuees to recover. Either way, once restored to health, evacuated beings will add to the positive ecology. I'm going to say that again. Either way, once restored to health, evacuated beings will add to the positive ecological growth of the cosmos. So that's it for the reading for today. I hope you've enjoyed it. I've sure enjoyed having you here and all of your comments. Oh, yes, good question, Denise. Denise says last Wednesday, we had Reverend Carter slated to be here with us. It kind of turned out better that he didn't, because I had all kinds of technical problems. My headphones wouldn't work, just all kinds of technical problems. But no, actually, I contacted him and he simply forgot. He had a lot of things going on and he forgot. But I have him rescheduled for next month, so he will be back. And yes, he is okay. So all good. It happens. Nobody's perfect, I always say. Certainly not myself. So before we close out the show today, does anyone have any questions or comments or anything you would like me to elaborate on before we say goodbye? I think the most important takeaway is, number one, RET, brothers, sisters, and cousins, are waiting for us to solve our own issues. And there are so many ways that we can do that, so many ways, but it's up to us to try. They're not going to just come in and scoop us all up and put us in beautiful new worlds, because we would just take the dysfunction and problems and toxicity with us. So something has to change. And I don't even know for sure if I will be chosen, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm working on being a good person and to having value to resettlement, but, there's no big guarantee for me. It's not like I'm more righteous than anyone else. Hillbilly Herb says, great show. Thanks. Have a happy Sunday. Phoenix says, have you ever thought of doing a once a month, maybe book club? Yes, I have. But to be honest with you, Phoenix, so few people have bought my book that it would be a pretty small book club. Denise says, I agree. Great show. Thank you. Thank you so much, everybody who is here in the live chat. I appreciate each and every one of you. This will be reloaded up as a replay. I appreciate everyone who watches that. And it will be going out on the Forbidden Knowledge Network on all audio platforms. So if you're listening to this on an audio platform, maybe you could do me a solid and throw me some stars. That would be really awesome. As for my poll, I don't know what to say about that. It says, the poll says, would you like me to do a partial read through of my book during some episodes? So your choices are, number one, some episodes to include the book, and number two, just do guest interviews. And two people from the live chat today did say they would like it if I did readings from my book from time to time. Phoenix says, we appreciate you and the beautiful community you have. I appreciate you very, very much. Oh, Hillbilly Herb says number one. And Kathleen says, thank you for your time and sharing your best. Okay. Awesome. Okay, guys. So I don't know how things go. I don't know whether the poll will show up or whether it won't show up. I guess we'll have to learn as we go along. I'm actually going to go stop the poll. Oh, there we are. I guess some people did find it. Some episodes to include my book, 100%. Awesome. I'm happy to hear that, because a lot of you who have become recent members or started hanging out with us recently, you're not familiar with the content. Maybe you'd like to hear a little bit about what it's about before you decide if you want to buy it or not. So, yeah. So anyway, thank you everybody for participating. And I guess that's it for today. Hope you all have a beautiful day. We finally got some sunshine here in central Alberta. Oh, the snow's almost gone. The birds are here. I can't wait to get out there on my lawn chair and read a book and get some rays. So I hope you all have a wonderful week, and we'll see you again. Take care, everybody. Much love to all of you. Thank you for joining me for the Aliens and Angels podcast. Read about my true life ET contact in my book called Transdimensional, Meet the New Neighbours, which is now available on Amazon worldwide. Subscribe to my YouTube, Rumble, and X channels at Karen Holton TV. The like button and leave me a comment. And please do share this podcast with your friends. Check out my website at www.karenholtonhealthcoach.com to see my free resources and amazing products and services. All of the links will be in the description below. As part of the Forbidden Knowledge Network, you'll also find the Quantum Guide Show with Karen Holton on all audio platforms. Until next time, keep up the good work.